Okay, so I'm going to do number 15 of section 8.2. And it reads, according to a study done in Wakefield research, the proportion of Americans who can order a meal in a foreign language is 0.47. So right from there we could determine that P equals 0.47. So the first question asks, suppose a random sample of 200 Americans is asked to disclose whether they can order a meal in a foreign language. Describe the sampling distribution of P hat, the proportion of Americans who can order a meal in foreign language. Be sure to verify the model requirements. Okay, so we need to find out the proportion mean and the proportion standard deviation. And we could do that by looking at the formula sheet right here, where it says mean of P hat equals P, and then the standard deviation of P hat is P times Q all divided by N, square rooted. So, since we know that P equals the mean of P hat, we could determine that the mean is 0.47, and then the standard deviation of P hat is 0.47, so that's P, times Q, 0.53, divided by N, which is 200, because there's 200 Americans who are asked. So the standard deviation is 0.0353. So we could determine that it is normally distributed, and it would look like this, with the mean of 0.47. Okay. So question B asks, in the sample obtained in Part A, what is the probability the proportion of Americans who can order a meal in a foreign language is greater than 0.5? So, we're looking at the distribution like this. The mean is still 0.47 because we're doing it from the sample of 200 people, and we're trying to find out how many of them can order in a foreign language, which is above 50%, so to the right of 50%. So we use the formula normal CDF. The lower bound is 0.50, upper bound is infinity. This is the mean, which is 0.47, and then the standard deviation is 0.0353. And that gives us 0.1977. So we could determine that about 20% of Americans can order meals in a foreign language with the population of being 200. Okay, C is, would it be unusual that in a survey of 200 Americans, 80 or fewer Americans can order a meal in a foreign language, and why? So, first we have to determine the proportion, or the proportion, which is 80 over 200. So here we figure out 80 over 200 is 0.4. So we're trying to figure out who can order a meal in a foreign language that is less than 40%. So here's what the distribution will look like. The mean is still 0.47, and then we're trying to find people fewer than 40%. So we're using the formula normal CDF. So lower bound is negative infinity, upper bound is 0.4, mean is 0.47, and the standard deviation is 0.0353. And that will give us the probability of 0.0237. So we could determine that about 2% of Americans can order a meal in a foreign language that is less than 40%, with the population N equaling 200. So since this is less than 0.05, we can determine that this is unusual.